Always do that.
I'm a night rider. Every time that I call this thing, I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a night rider. Every time that I give what I kind of supply that fire.
Bam! What is going on, bookworms, and welcome back to another episode of Bookmarks with Bump. The very first edition with video. This is something that I've been wanting to do since the conception of the show, and here we are, 64 weeks later, and let that be a lesson to you. No matter what you're doing, if it doesn't look perfect the first time, that's all right. Try again, keep trying, keep going, and give it everything you got until everything you got comes together and you can get yourself whatever it is you want. Here we are, 64 weeks, 64 episodes in, and we're doing something that I've always wanted to do on the show. I think it's very important. It's a very important aspect of the show since it is a content-driven show. I find myself on a week-to-week basis kind of going through these threads and going, how do I get this across to the viewer? How do I get this across to the listener? I look, I sound, I do all of these things like a stooge, but here on today's episode, we're going to open up a brand new world. We're going to open up the world of the content, the threads that I've always encouraged you to hit the links in the description and read along with. Now, do I trust everybody to take instructions? Me being somebody who gives instructions on a daily basis, I know that I can't depend on that. And oftentimes, in order to help out for the greater good, I hop in and I show the instructions. And today will be the very first episode of Bookmarks with Bump, where the bookmarks are included in the show. And man, I am so pumped. I went out and got myself a new computer last week. I finally was relieved of my duties. And so I gave myself the time to enjoy the fruits of my labor. I mean, I'm doing a lot of things for myself here that 5-6 years ago I didn't know if I'd ever be able to do. And now I'm sitting here like, I could do anything. And so I felt after last week's long run, I ran 14 miles and felt like I could run 50. And we're heading into, well, first, let me introduce the show. All right, let me keep it section. There's just so much excitement in this week's episode. It's going to be very hard to contain that. But who cares? So here we are. Just another day in the life of an episode. All right, come on now. I got to get it together. This is just so exciting for me. I feel like it's Christmas. Bookmarks with Bub, social commentary podcast where I've compiled a list of the greatest threads of all time. And threads are this area of Twitter where people put together tweet after tweet after tweet, a series of tweets, if you can say. They call that a thread. They're threading them together. They're stitching the needle through. Me, what I do is I bookmark them because when I'm scrolling on my phone, it's generally while I'm at work on the toilet, and I don't ever really pick up my phone that much throughout the rest of the day unless somebody texts me or calls me. Those are kind of the only instances I'm on my phone. I try to stay off social media and just live life right in front of me as it truly is. However, these threads, they always contain something that piques my interest. So when I find one I like, I bookmark it and I save it for later. Later never came until 64 weeks ago when the idea dawned on me. I have recording equipment that I've just never used, and I can just do a podcast. So let me do a podcast. And this podcast is Bookmarks with Bump. We go through the threads. What makes me somebody who's qualified to go through these threads? Well, generally the threads are fitness, mindset, goal-oriented, all of these, motivational areas, and those just happen to be my area of expertise. Do I like to toot my own horn? No, but right now I will, because I'll tell you who I was, and that was an alcoholic who had to quit drinking because every time he drank, he ended up in a pile of cocaine. I'm a certified journeyman in the Department of Labor in Connecticut, and I'm a certified personal trainer. I'm a certified dog. I went from 300 pounds to 175 pounds in a matter of 9 months once I finally decided what I wanted to do with my life, and that was change it. That was look at what I could control as opposed to what I couldn't control and just run with it. And literally what happened was I started running with it. Here I am. Today is the 31st day of August. The last day of August is when this episode comes out, and I will be heading into the last week of my training schedule for the September 7th Surftown Half Marathon. I'm super excited to run. It's my second of 2 destination races this year. It's my second of 2 half marathons, and I'm feeling very good heading into this last week. I'm feeling much better heading into this race than I did my first race of the year, and for me, that's something I can't get too high on. However, it's an achievement. I've changed up a couple modalities in the way that I'm exercising, and I've changed up my training schedule and where I'm grabbing them from. So we're going to see how this 10-week plan did for me, and we're just going to keep it pushing, baby boy. This week, very exciting. It's a lot of exciting things going on. You know, I got the new computer. I got everything set up. I got YouTube TV at home now. You know, I'm a cable guy now. I always said I would never be a cable guy. I got cable, and you know why? Because the college and NFL football seasons are starting, and I need a reliable way to watch it, okay? I'm not going to be on Stream East anymore, guys. And as a matter of fact, it's not just that I'm not going to be on Stream East. I'm also going to grandstand and say nobody should, okay? Get out there. Pick yourself up by your bootstraps, grab a nice job, get yourself in a trade there, buddy, and pay for cable, man. No, but seriously, I was roped into it, and I got cable. Cable, YouTube TV, great. No free ads. All right, whatever, screw it. And I barely even watched it yet, which kind of stinks, but tomorrow is the first big noon kickoff. I will be at work until about 1 o'clock, so I'll be listening to Gus Johnson call out Ohio State players running down the sideline from the trail. My last long run is tomorrow, and it's an 8-mile run, just something light. It's so funny to go from looking like 10 weeks ago, looking at 8 miles, like, okay, this is my long run, got to be ready for this one, where last week I ran 14 miles. I was only supposed to run 13.1, but I told you, sometimes you just got to go the extra mile, and I did, and I'm glad I did, because that feeling after was just pure euphoria. Why? Why is it euphoric to me? I don't know, because I've prepared myself, because I work hard for this stuff. It's what keeps my head on, it's what keeps my head screwed in. It keeps me from having a leaky roof. It keeps me from getting tilted. As much as I can exude passion on a day-to-day basis. This is what keeps me grounded. This is what keeps me sane. It's definitely what keeps me sober, keeps me out of trouble, keeps me accountable. And it keeps me drinking Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar, the #1 drink of Fansville. You know why I know? You know how I know it's college football season? Because something in the air just told me to go out, get a zero sugar Dr. Pepper, and throw it down while you record your podcast tonight. So, without a further ado, let's introduce this whole kit and caboodle, man. Let's get right into the threads. Our first thread is from the Masculine Beast, okay? And he's going to show you some of the things that I do, and that's work hard. And I worked hard to become an elite athlete, such as the guy we're going to throw on the screen right now. Cristiano Ronaldo, okay? Cristiano Ronaldo has a great kind of, I could say you could call this 2 things, okay? You could call this a plyometric routine. You could also call it a high-intensity interval training routine, because what he's doing here, you can string these all together and make a circuit, but these are very fluid, functional movements that you do with your body weight only. And the #1 exercise on this list that Masculine Beast says all men must do for aesthetic body, which, let's point out a couple of things here. These are the first threads that I ever bookmarked when I conceived of this idea. And a lot of these, a lot of accounts in my algorithm weren't really vetted out. I can probably predict this is some type of engagement farming account from Singapore or some nation far off in the east like that. However, all exercises all men must do for aesthetic body, for an aesthetically pleasing body. I don't know what aesthetic body means when it comes to working out. Hypertrophy. Hypertrophy, that's a muscle building word. Okay, well, that's actually what the word means. Hypertrophy is the opposite of atrophy. And so I really don't know what aesthetic body is. I mean, we're talking about building yourself, carving yourself into a body that looks good. In the first exercise, and if you're not watching on YouTube or on Spotify, I encourage you to hit the links in the description and please follow along, because the first exercise in the bunch, Cristiano Ronaldo is doing with a top bun here. I don't know what year this is from or when he ever used this hairstyle. He's a man of many faces, Cristiano Ronaldo, widely renowned as the greatest soccer player of all time, unless you're talking to a Messi fan. I have no real opinion on the football hierarchy. I just call a spade a spade. They're both pretty good. But what he's doing here are forward lunges, okay? And very fast paced. We're looking at in 10 seconds, he's doing 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is actually great because these are how I count these. A lot of people will lose count while doing these. So I count it as if I'm going 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. Counting each individual rep with each individual leg, you'll take a step forward and, squat. A forward lunge is a squat. You're lunging forward. You're squatting. You want your legs parallel. Your top half of your leg to be 90 degrees in conjunction with the bottom half of your leg. A great exercise. Forward lunges are really a barn burner. He's got side lunges here as the second exercise, with a plyometric jump at the end. Plyometrics are a great way to build explosive power. And explosive power can also call on a lot of fast twitch, number 2 muscle fibers and help you grow in the long run. All of these exercises, what I'm saying, you string these all together for 30 seconds each and then rest at the end and do it in a circuit style. This is going to be a great high-intensity interval training workout. The third exercise are push-ups. Great way to build the shoulders, back, and chest on the body. Exercise 4 are dead bugs, an oblique crunch, if you will, where you're laying flat on. Oh, look at the little baby. One of his 14,000 kids just walked by. The guy just got engaged the other day. Him and Travis Kelce. Love is in the air. Dr. Pepper's in the air. Football's in the air. It's the best time of the year. So dead bugs, you're laying on your back, and you're using your obliques to shuffle from side to side and tap your feet, which are, underneath your tuchus. The number 6 exercise, a hip flexing. So this would be a hip flexor, extension, and flexion. You're engaging your core here, being in that planked position. But by pulling your knee towards your chest and then back all the way out, you're getting a great workout for your hip flexor, as well as you're going to hit the hamstrings a little bit here and the glutes. If this thread was able to add 1% value to your life, please follow. No, I won't. Unless your grammar has changed. I'm not sure if it has or hasn't, but I don't really have the time to wait around to, I don't really have the time to wait around and figure out if you're going to be able to learn the English language in a proper manner. I don't know. I don't want to sound rude. We're moving all over the place this week on this episode of Bookmarks with Bump, a very special edition coming to you live from the land before time. A lot of what we got roped into over the last few weeks, which I'm sure has probably been very... What's the word I'm looking for? entertaining to hear, I guess. Me falling for a trap, getting duped, and being gullible. I'm sure that's been entertaining for a lot of you folks. I'll just pretend I caught that. What a terrible debut, huh? No flubs. Send it. I got duped by AI a few times, and that's because AI is a great tool, and it knows its way around. It knows how to navigate through the uncanny valley, and you'll be able to catch it sometimes, which is why I always catch it. I always have a great reaction to it. I shouldn't say that. No, there's always a great reaction out of me when I figure out I've been outdone by AI. But Angry Tom has a thread here that goes over some AI tools in marketing, to be frank. And marketing is something that is tough. I'll say that as a content creator, that marketing can be tough. I don't really do a lot of marketing for the podcast these days. I like to be a guy who markets himself on the product. I'm not going to talk it up all that much. I'm just going to go out there and perform, because that's what dogs do. But Angry Tom put out a thread at Angry Tom Tweets. 20-year-old kids are making 10 million. Does that say 10,000 million? Oh, okay. Here's what they're doing. They're making $10,000 a month. See, I don't make that much a month, so I've never really looked at it in that facet. Usually I'll do a /H because I'm looking at my hourly rate. However, these 20-year-old kids are using AI and no-code tools, and they are building money printing machines. Here are 8 AI and no-code tools to start printing money online. Maybe I could become a 10M guy. Okay, number 1 is the AI Assistant by Durable. Follow along. Links are always in the description. All of these actually have the links to the websites that they're speaking about and their respective Twitter/X accounts. It's a chat GPT for small business owners. Your in-house AI assistant right inside the Durable app. We'll look at this little advertisement they have here. They have an always-on AI assistant. They're trained to save you time and help you grow faster. The only AI trained to grow your business. Next, we have Beehive. Okay? And Beehive helps you launch, scale, and monetize your newsletter with a publishing platform built for growth. Built by those who have done it before. Yo, hey, chill. Chill out. I didn't ask for all that. Pretty sure I left my speakers on too. Let me shut those off real quick while I start this video.
Video. I'm going to give you a high-level overview of the Beehive platform, answering questions like what makes
Hold up, wait. Newsletters? Who's typing up newsletters? The hell? Canva. Canva makes it easy to create and share professional designs. Canva sounds like a great one for me here, because that looks like something that could up the scale of my content. It helps you level up your design skills, even if you're just getting started. What about Gumroad? What's Gumroad? Let's start this one over. Gumroad, anyone can earn their first dollar online. Just start with what you know. See what sticks and get paid. It's that easy. See audio. Hey, Gumroad's something that, I mean, how is it that easy? What is this even saying? With Gumroad, anyone can earn their first dollar online. Just start with what you know. See what sticks and get paid. So how am I going to make money running? I got to look into Gumroad. Notion AI can access the limitless power of AI right inside Notion. Work faster, write better, and think bigger. Let's see what this is all about. Notion. Okay, so Notion is an AI that helps you not work at your job. Number 8, Stock Image AI. Stock Image AI is a generation tool that lets you instantly create high-quality custom assets for your brand. Now, this is one I'm going to have to visit. Can I make a new logo for Bookmarks with Bump here? We're on a mish. That place looks like Noah's Ark. That's pretty sick. Okay, so if you're designing textbooks, it's a great app to use, stockimage.ai. Number 7 is Jitter Video. Motion design made simple. Animate your content in seconds. Get started easily, iterate fast, and produce better content. And that's how you know, ladies and gentlemen, that these threads are brought to you like this is my time to read these, because it was the whole idea of the conception of the show was to read them and share them with whoever's listening, the audience, the bookworms. Shout out to all the bookworms out there. Nonetheless, this I could have used this one from the start of the show, and maybe it would find a way to bring the threads into the podcast all together. But here we are. We're doing it right now. Motion. Design made simple. What's new? Collaborate with your team. Make your move. Jitter. Jitter.video. Okay. Pretty cool. Zapier. Automate your work fast. I don't think I'll like this one, but Zapier employs businesses to automate workflows and move data across 5,000 plus apps. Okay? Let's hear how we're not working hard here. Zapier. Okay. That's a wrap. If you enjoyed this thread, follow me at Angry Tom Tweets. I wonder how many people out in the workforce, the pencil pushers out there, the arthritis catchers, the keyboard grippers, how many of them are using these tools to not work hard? I hate that. Let's just be honest here. And that's me talking about my expertise again. Why am I somebody who does a podcast about things of this nature? Well, AI I can't really speak much on because I'm not a business minded guy. Well, I guess I am in a way, but I'm not like a working in an office guy. I need to be on the move. I need to use my hands. I need to provide leadership. These are the types of things that I need to do when it comes to having a career that I can thrive in. But how many people sitting at a desk right now are sitting at a desk complaining about having to go in and sit at a desk and they're not even really working? To me, that seems... I don't even know where to start with that. A couple of these tools were just about filling out emails, writing up reports. How can we write up a report and say that we're presenting a report? You're not presenting a report. You're presenting a piece of fabricated mishmash. So shout out to you for not doing the most of with what you can. Let's get right into the next thread, which was put out by Max Hertan. And this is more up my alley, all right? This is about Andy Galpin. Andy Galpin is a world-renowned fitness expert. He coaches NBA All-Stars, Olympians, and Hall of Famers. In an interview with Andrew Huberman, he shared a 9-step test to determine how healthy you are. This is the most important thing to do for your health this year, and here's a breakdown. This is Mr. Galpin right here. He looks like a fit nerd, so I mean he strikes me as the type of guy who could come up with this test. But his evidence, the thread goes on to say, his evidence-based protocol assesses all 9 adaptations of the body. It helps you understand where you're actually at in terms of strength, endurance, muscle growth, flexibility, and recovery. The tests are all 0 or low cost. Let's get into it. Number 1, skill and technique. Assess all joints: shoulder, elbow, hip, knee, lower back, and ankle. Do push-up, pull-up, or bent row, squat, and deadlift. Record your frontal and side view. 3 to 10 reps per angle. Body weight only. What you're looking for here are symmetry, stability, awareness, and the full range of motion. Number 2 is power. Check with the broad jump. Oh. It wasn't me. That was the Dr. Pepper. Looking at the broad jump, you start in a normal position. Jump out as far in front of you as you possibly can. Stand still, no running. You can swing and bounce. You should be able to broad jump your height. Measure the distance from the tip of your toe to the back of your heels. That's your shoe size. No, I'm just kidding. Broad jump, a great way to show explosivity. Just like why you're doing these exercises in the first tweet here, you're doing them body weight only because sometimes the weight can help center your center of gravity. This is going to show you any muscular imbalances or stability issues you may have. Number 3, we'll move on. The thread goes on to talk about strength. There are 2 ways to gauge your true strength. One is a hand grip dynamometer. Okay, and these are kind of, picture the thing they put the car on when they're testing all its specs. It has a minimum score of 40 kilograms, ideally 60. Should have no more than 10% differential between hands. There's also the dead hang test. Wrap your whole hand around the bar. A minimum of 30 seconds, an ideal level of health would be 60 seconds. Strength, leg extension, test 1 rep max. Put on a load that is close to your max and do as many reps as you can. Has to be under 5. Then go online and enter that number into a 1 rep max calculator. You should be able to lift your body weight with the end of your legs here. Number 4, hypertrophy. Aesthetics are irrelevant in this instance. Enter your total body weight, your body fat, and your height into an online calculator to calculate your fat-free mass index score. It should be at least 20 for men and 18 for women. Oh, I've never heard of doing this. It's hard to get your body fat percentage. There's only a few ways to measure it truly. But if you have the dexameter that you can wrap your hands around, it does a good way sending electrodes through your body to measure how much subcutaneous tissue is in there. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is with a caliper. There are great ways to do it. However, what you're looking for here, in all reality, like you see kind of how in my bicep, my vein is kind of just out floating around. That's also a good sign of your fat-free mass index and your cardiovascular health. Number 5 is the muscular endurance test. You do standard push-ups, full joint range of motion with no pausing. Men should have no problem with 25 consecutive push-ups. Less than 10 is a red flag. 10 to 25 is middling. Women, 15 consecutive push-ups, okay? Under 5 is a red flag, and 5 to 15 is middling. What you're doing with your push-ups, you're testing all of the stability in your shoulders and your arms, as well as in your chest, the upper chest. But a great show of muscular endurance is how much you can move your body weight. Push-ups were exactly where I started. I started with push-ups and sit-ups. By now, if you've been listening to the show, you've heard the story. I started in between quarters of games of 2K, and then it just turned into my entire life. And now, we want to test our anaerobic capacity, which is where you're using 100% effort, such as any activity where you can go close to 100% effort. Sprinting, air bike, rowing, etc. Can you get close to your predicted max heart rate, which is 220, and then subtract your age from that? You should have a heart rate recovery of 30 beats per minute. And after 2 minutes, your heart rate should be 60 beats per minute once you're resting again. The maximal aerobic capacity, your VO2 max, there's a 12-minute Cooper's test. Run for 12 minutes as far as you can and record the distance you covered. You should cover 1 to 2 miles. Then go online to any calculator, enter that distance in, and that'll tell you your estimated VO2 max. So, if you run over 2,800 meters in 12 minutes, and 2,800 meters is a mile and a half, okay? 1,600 meters is a mile. 2,800 meters is a mile and a half. If you can do that in 12 minutes, which is, what, an 8-minute pace? I have to think. Yes, 8 plus 4, 12. So, if you can run a mile and a half at the age of 30 to 39 in 12 minutes, which I can do very easily, I have an excellent predicted VO2 max. Lucky for me. But if you can't get a mile in 12 minutes, odds are you have poor VO2 max, and that's how much blood, the volume of oxygen in your blood as your muscles are pumping. Your VO2 max is an important factor, the thread goes on to say, in determining how long you might have to live. The highest mortality risks are seen in those with VO2 max below 18 milliliters or per kilogram per minute. Above 35, you're in a zone associated with longer survival. So what about if you have like a 58 like me? Nonetheless, I don't mean to startle anybody there, but get out there and test your VO2 max. Come on now. Long duration, steady state is the 8th test. You should be able to maintain a consistent workout for 20 minutes with no breaks, no intervals, and no downtime. Ideally with nasal breathing only. This is a light jog, a walk, anything where you're in an aerobic state. The heart rate is under 110, 120, 130. Number 9 is speed, and the speed test is not something that most people need to test unless you're an athlete. Okay? He didn't have access to everything when he did the test, but here are some of his numbers. Push-ups 50, pull-ups 18, bench 120 kilograms for 1 rep, squat 125 kilograms for 1 rep, the plank for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, wall sit for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, a minute and 53-second dead hang, shout out to Max Hertan for hanging around, and his ski max distance was 779 meters. I don't know what that is, judging on the kilograms and all that. He is probably some bloke, mate. He's probably a bloke, mate. It's a ski max. That might just be something from across the pond. Andy recommends making the entire list once a year within a week. Okay? The numbers above may vary according to age and gender. For more information, check out the Huberman Lab podcast episode and follow Dr. Andy Galpin. This is an advertisement that I will promote because I believe in it. I believe in the product here, so I'm going to let that one slip on by. I think this is something that I'm going to do after the Hartford half. I'm going to test. I'm going to test and see what I'm doing. Okay? I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure out how fit I am. I know my VO2 max is great. I know I can cover that distance in the allotted time. There are some things on there that I want to test. I want to test my speed. You didn't really get into the speed aspect of it at all. I want to know how to test the speed, but it's not something most people need, so let's not get into it. Let's not be too picky about Max Hertan. He tried his best, and he gave me a great thread. I got nothing to be mad at here. I got nothing to be mad at all, really that much in life, you know? Bought a computer, bought new shoes, didn't make a dent. I'm going golfing this weekend. Tonight, Sunday night, the night this episode airs, I will be playing my very first round of night golf. Very, very excited about that. I've never hit glow-in-the-dark balls before. But I was invited to join my buddy in a tournament, so I'm going to do that. And Labor Day, I'm going to celebrate that by playing golf. Yes. My buddy Kyle and I used to go out every Sunday and play a new golf course every week. And for a while with our schedules, we got mixed up, so we weren't able to play. He hit me up this week. He said, "Hey, man, I miss you. Let's get out there and play. Are you free on Labor Day?" And I was like, yeah, I got no labor on Labor Day. Let's get into it. And let's see what this thread here can teach me by Ryan Mock. We talked a few weeks ago. We talked the last couple weeks, really. We talked a lot about golf, man. We really dug into golf. And hopefully Sunday and Monday I'm not digging into the ground and hitting it fat and I hope I'm not hitting it into the woods because I am what the first sentence of this thread says. I'm sick and tired of hitting the ball to the right. Okay? The thread goes on to say, sick and tired of hitting the ball to the right? Make sure your club face isn't open. There are many ways to close down that club face. However, none are easier than simply strengthening the grip and ensuring your wrist angles are flat during the backswing. This will ensure a square, strong club face position, allowing you to then work on the delivery. We have some demonstration here. Nice soft swings. See how he's not going full speed in practice, but he is going full range of motion, using full rotation. He's just kind of slowing it down. I think that's a great way to practice. I don't always practice like that because I am just so gung-ho sometimes that I'm going 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I think that's something that I need to implement a little bit more. I bookmarked just one video. Okay, let's go over this video again. Okay, 3/4 swings, quarter swings. We'll start from the beginning. We'll give it a real go here. That is the way to practice. This is like a walkthrough, okay? This is the practice before the game. This is the practice where your coach isn't trying to beat you into a bloody pulp. This is kind of just showing yourself the motion, giving yourself a little bit of muscle memory and giving yourself a chance to make the rep successfully. So the more successful reps you have, okay, it's not always about going full speed right away. The more successful reps you have, the more you're familiar with the action, and the more you're familiar with the action, the more action you'll get. And that wraps up this episode of Bookmarks with Bump. What a privilege it is to be able to show you me and show you these threads as we go along. This was fun. This is fun, and it's still a work in progress. We already know this. This isn't perfect. It's not perfect yet. It will be one day soon. So thank you for bearing with me through the days of the darkness where we had no video, we had no vision, we had no idea what we were talking about. We were just talking and putting it out into the ether. But now it's here. It's here for you to see, for you to enjoy. You can hit me on my email at bookmarkswbump@gmail.com. If you have any threads that you'd like to see me go over, or if you need any advice when it comes to what you're doing in the gym, I am a certified personal trainer. I always will be. I am a dog. I always will be. I will be providing you the knowledge that you need to become one yourself for as long as you want. Okay? And this week, right now, the second I stop recording, it's time to lock in because it's race week, baby. And you'll see me one more time before I hit the pavement. And you'll see me after that. As always, it's all love and God bless. Thank you for listening to Bookmarks with Bump.
Always do that.
I'm a nerd rider. Every time that I call this spin, that I swear I get higher. Swear I gotta get higher now. I'm a nerd rider. Every time that I give what I got, I supply that fire.